Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, January 18th, after the Celtics 119-115 overtime loss to the Atlanta Hawks in Boston. Second leg of a back-to-back after huge 27-point win over the Magic. They fall in ugly fashion to a Hawks team that got healthy for this game, beat them last time with an unhealthy squad, and then beat them again this time around. So I'm sure we'll talk about all of it, but ugly loss. One of the worst of the year. Worst of the year in some areas, not worst of the year in other areas. Feels like we're throwing that term around a lot lately.
It's the third worst loss of the year in 8 days. Pretty impressive. Like, proven that you can do it time and time again is the true trait of an entertainer. Tell you what, I mean, you can always count on them to disappoint you.
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was getting pump faked again. Listen, I think what is the worst loss of the season depends on what your metric for what the worst loss means is. Because I think effort-wise, the Raptors loss was the worst loss of the season. I think execution-wise, this was the worst loss of the season, right? Because I don't think the problem in this game against the Hawks was trying, right? I think this was, and Joe Mazzulla said it after the game, he's like, I think our effort was really good. They had lapses, but they got a million steals. They forced, they had 13 steals in this game. For as much as they
started this game really well.
Sure. For as much as they couldn't convert in transition, they're getting a shit ton of transition opportunities. They were running, right? And I think there were like lapses in offense. I think there were lapses in defense. But in terms of effort, I think the Raptors game was worse, and it's not close. In terms of execution, this was really bad. This one was really bad.
This isn't like an award show where you want to be like winning all the categories, right? Like worst loss in execution, worst loss in effort. Like, no, usually not good. Usually not good. It had everything. Like it had missed layups, like points in an overtime game where you just left points on the board, like the Hauser dunk. Like as stupid as that is to be talking about after a loss, like they left 2 points on the board with that. And like, he's probably not going to miss another dunk ever, but really bad night to miss a dunk.
Yes.
Holiday missed a wide open layup on a cut. Like that was 2 examples of just piss poor. Even the transition opportunities that you talked about where it was back to back in the first half and it was 3-on-1 twice and they fucked it up. You can't do that. Those things cannot happen. And I'm almost like happy that it was a night where they paid for it because they had so many stupid mistakes in this game that came back to bite them. But I don't even know if they're going to learn from it at this point. I have something I'm really pissed about we can get to in a minute.
Say it now. Run it. Go ahead.
All right, so the worst thing in this game to me, outside of the game losing stretch.
We can double back. We got time. I drove here today, so I don't have to be out of here for a tea. So you run it, bro.
It's like obviously the game losing stretch, awful. The Holiday turnover out of bounds, terrible. Should have never happened. Should have just held the ball. He couldn't have fell to the floor because it would have been a travel. But he could have just stood like a statue and went to the free throw line.
Could he even shot the layup? He had a shot. Could have just taken a shot if he really wanted to. I'm saying is there were
was going with him to the rim.
Sure. All I'm saying is there are multiple things he could have done that were better than what happened.
Yes. The fouling up 3, I think, is dishonorable, and I'm actually kind of happy they paid for it in a way. Tatum misses a free throw. Day ends in Y. And then the Holiday fouling on purpose because he thinks that they're up 3 and they're trying to foul on purpose. Again, is retribution for that. Whatever. All 3 things, all bad, all game-losing mistakes. The thing that I am the most upset about is, Jack, how did the Celtics recapture a spark in this game in the fourth quarter? What was it? They kind of looked dead on defense. What did you say?
The big shoving match. They got in a shoving match.
No, not that. It was Payton Pritchard scoring 1 billion points.
Oh, sure. That was fourth quarter. Yes. Sorry.
That's what I said.
I saw you said overtime. I know. I misunderstood. Yes.
Payton Pritchard.
I wrote about it.
13 fourth quarter points. 5 of 6 from the field. He hits back-to-back threes to build the Celtics lead to 5. He doesn't shoot again. How? How does he not shoot again? How does he not shoot the ball again? They wasted. Please pull it up, Jack. There's go in the play-by-play. It's 2.5 minutes left in the game, and the shot is a Tatum 30-foot miss. They wasted this whole possession trying to get Trae Young off of Payton Pritchard and onto Jayson Tatum so Tatum could go at Trae Young instead of just having Pritchard go at him. What difference does it make? Look at this. They're fucking playing patty cake trying to get the switch. Then he takes a bomb. This is terrible. Holy shit, did this piss me off when it happened. I'm far enough away from the mic that it's not killing you, right?
It was great. Yeah, no, that was perfect. Thank you.
Holy shit, that was fucking terrible. How does that fucking happen? The guy just carried you. He lit you back to life, and you ice him out of the game. How?
I don't know. I agree with you. I'm not going to yell quite the same, but it didn't make any sense why they did that. And the Celtics offense just felt like it turned into, you do this, I do that, you do this, I do that. And even when it worked with Jalen making the midi at the end of the game, which is a good shot, it was just weird choices for offense in what they did. And I mean, not to mention, we talk about, the fourth quarter end, which we can't talk about again. What about Jaylen Brown or them correctly trying to do a 2-for-1, right? 2-for-1 worked perfectly at the end of the regulation, by the way. They got a good shot. They had a time to play defense for a possession, and then they would have had another shot. They just fucked up everything around it, right? The 2-for-1 was not the problem there. But then you get to overtime, and there's 30 seconds left, and Jalen tries to take a shot quick enough for a 2-for-1, realizes he has a bad shot, and it's not a 2-for-1, so he tries to dump it off to Keita and then turns the ball over. There's just so many lapses in execution. And let's talk about the end of the fourth quarter, too, because, we were discussing amongst ourselves, what was the worst of the bunch, right? Was it Tatum's missed free throw? Probably not. Missed free throws happen as much as that sucked, and you should make them. That is the least controllable, I would argue, of the bunch, right? You can control whether or not to pass the ball to Jaylen Brown and turn the ball over. You can control what you're doing there. You can control whether or not you foul. And Jrue Holiday admitted it after the game, yeah, this one's on me. I messed up. I lost us this game. But what a disaster class to throw. The Celtics should have won this game at the free throw line, and they ended up losing in overtime. It was insane.
Also, not for nothing. Not only did Jrue cost them the game, Jaylen Brown falls on his face in overtime because they're playing overtime. Yes. Jaylen Brown never takes that scary fall if they just don't play with brain damage at the end of the game. I mean, what a scary thing to have happen in 5 minutes of basketball that should have never happened.
It's crazy. I turned to Noah when Tatum stepped at the free throw, and I go, this game's going to overtime. She goes, how? I'm like, I don't know, but it will. And bet your ass it did go to overtime. Just what an awful display of execution at the end of that game. And like I said, I think the effort was there. I don't think they were not trying in this game. But man, they couldn't have made more of a mess at the end of it. Jalen and Jayson were terrible. I don't think either of them were very good in this game. And the box score might tell a different story. Jalen, I think
they were horrible. They were both 33% from the field.
Yeah. Jalen had 24, 11, and 8, but was 9 of 27, 2 and 9. Jayson had 23, 8 and 7, but was 7 of 21, 2 and 9. Jalen had that good stretch in the first quarter where he scored a bunch. Tatum in this game, I think this was a pretty normal bad Jalen game. It was a classic doing too much from time to time, spaces out from time to time, whatever. This was a weird bad Tatum game because there were times in this game where he was just not paying attention, not focusing, not locked in. And maybe, so I guess effort wise, that's a thing, but I don't even think it was effort. I think it was just you know the saying or not stereotype, the thing of the kid in playing soccer who instead of guarding the goal is picking flowers to the side, just sitting in the ground. That was Tatum for a lot of times in this game. He was just kind of not really focusing, which I didn't understand. And then So I write studs and duds during every game, and I publish them at the buzzer. Jrue Holiday was a stud for the entire game. I thought he played an incredible defensive game. I thought he hit his shots on offense. I thought he did a good job of getting open. He was a monster defensively, and I had to take him out because he completely botched the end of the game. It's crazy. Like, they ruined a Luke Cornett masterclass, by the way. He had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Like, Luke Cornett was awesome.
I feel like he's always awesome when he starts.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just solid. He's just constantly solid. Like you said, Payton Pritchard piggybacked them.
I can't. He was like, awesome. If you see me during this pod just sitting here shaking my head, like, that's what it is. I'm just thinking about how he did not shoot the ball after he was their whole offense. How did he not shoot it?
And another thing, and I don't know how much this actually mattered. I'd have to go back and watch. Why the fuck was Neemias Queta in the game in overtime? What went into that decision?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
At no point in this game was Nemi better than Luke Cornett. Nemi was a foul machine, getting turned around. Like, I don't think he was particularly good. He didn't score at all. He had 4 rebounds and 2 blocks. Like, he was fine. He was a +1 on the day, so I suppose he was technically a net positive. But I don't think he was, like, detrimental to the team. But he certainly wasn't good. Luke Cornett was great, but Nemi was in the game, and the Hawks literally targeted him on 90% of the possessions they had. Like, and they probably would have done the same to Luke, but do you know who I trust more on the perimeter? Sadly, Luke. Probably Luke. I probably trust Luke, especially considering how they can scheme around him. So I didn't get that. I didn't get why they didn't go to Pritchard, like you said. Derek White had 7 of 25 of 16, but at least the motherfucker hits a couple shots in overtime. He hit 2 big shots in overtime,
which
but
was
he
good
was
to see.
But he was still ass. So it's just Sam Hauser was 0 of 7, 0 of 5. Jesus,
Sam Hauser
disaster.
I was going to go here next. Sam Hauser is like kind of in a dangerous zone right now. Like,
he was awful.
I'm at a point with Hauser where I wouldn't care if they replaced him. It's mean. Seriously, like, he's just been inconsistent to bad. Like,
yes.
This whole season.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Somebody else needs to get that time, and that person isn't on this team right now. And it's not Lonnie Walker. For people in the comments are gonna be like,
I would like some Jordan minutes
Walker
or Jrue minutes, mostly Jordan, but I'd like some Jordan minutes. I don't think he was the solution tonight. First and foremost,
Jordan could be somebody that plays, but I really they miss his, like, reliability.
They miss Hauser. They do miss Hauser. Just what a frustrating game to watch, man. Like,
let me ask you something. You're going to say no. Are you over the Joe stuff? Are you over the
No, I love it.
Trolling?
I actually really like it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's trolling.
I'm over it.
I truly don't think he's trolling.
Whatever he's doing, I'm over it.
That's just who he is. It's just they didn't have stretches like this since 2 years ago, and he was doing this 2 years ago. He just wasn't as eloquent when he was doing it.
He didn't say anything 2 years ago, so that's fair.
Like, the Joe stuff is, and I don't want to read the full quotes. I'll read like bits and pieces because they were long, but I posted a whole Houdini article on it. Missoula called the Celtics awful Celtics stretch fun. Go read that. But Gary Washburn asked, like, are you afraid or do you fear that this could demoralize the team? And Joe Missoula cut him off and said, there's no fear. I'm actually more excited at this juncture of the season than I was at the beginning. And then Gary, of course, followed up, why? He goes, why? And it was a huge response. Well, no, this wasn't a huge response. He said, this is the fun part. It's how we're going to attack it, whatever. And then when he was asked, like, how do they avoid that fear, all this stuff, he went on a huge tangent and was like, I guess my question when I'm always in situations like this is, what do you expect? Do you expect that when you do something as a team, you just expect it to go well for you all the time? Said, like, I use some expletives usually, like, what the blank do you expect? He didn't actually say it, hence that. But, like, I understand the perspective of, like, and I think what he said that resonated with me the most is, like, we don't have time to worry about it. Like, all we can do is take it, learn, move on. And he said multiple times throughout the press conferences, throughout this stretch, like, this is not an excuse. Like, it is unacceptable. Losing is unacceptable. Like, we need to fix it. We need to figure it out. But I'm not going to sit here and get demoralized or panic over it. Like, that is the wrong emotion to feel. And I get that it's frustrating because as people covering the team and as fans and as whoever watching is like natural to like look for answers and say, hey, what the fuck is going on? But I truly think in his twisted mind, he enjoys that they are going through struggles and he enjoys that they're playing like shit because that means there's stuff to fix. That means there's places to go. That means there is like more to like beat into them. I don't know, but I truly believe what he is saying. So
I've thought about this because like the alternative is like, what do you want him to say? I think I prefer this to the will be better. It's just starting to piss me off.
I see, I get it, but I feel like what is pissing you off, and maybe I'm just like projecting. I feel like what's pissing you off is just the fact that they keep losing, not Joe's response to it. Because Joe's response to it has never changed. Like I said, he was saying this 2 years ago when they were shitting themselves in the playoffs.
Today it pissed me off.
Yeah, because you were mad at the loss.
But it like added more pissed off onto it. Like I was already pissed off, but it was just like salt in the wound. Like quit fucking trolling me, man. Like I know he means it, but like he's still trolling people. Like he's being genuine, but it's still like a troll. Like people are mad and he's like, I'm having fun. Like that's a troll.
Yes. Well, I don't think he like yes, it is, but I think that's actually how he feels. Like I think that is actually what
I agree with you.
So then what do you want him to say?
That's like it's what's the word for it?
Paradox?
Yes, that. It's just like one of those like
chicken or the egg, what came first?
It's just yeah.
I get it. Like I get frustration. It's just like I'd rather him say what he is feeling than bullshit. So
man, I just sitting here thinking about how Pritchard took no more shots in a game where Tatum and Brown were not efficient.
No more shots. Nothing for him. No shots. Yeah, man.
I saw people were pissed online about the Tatum 3 in overtime. He had to shoot it like that because the dishonorable fouling when you're up 3. He had to like shoot real fast and like on the move.
Yes. It's like what happened against the Nuggets last year when everyone was mad. Like they didn't know if they were going to use their foul and the Nuggets didn't, but they thought they were going to, so they got up an awkward shot. So they would like it was just a tough spot to be in. Which it obviously wasn't perfect, and maybe they could have run a play for Pritchard, but just a pretty dumbfounding loss. I would say their worst of the season. Just circle back to the start of the show, but it's baffling to me because, in a way, for me, I am more okay with the occasional shitty effort game because in my mind those are normal. As much as you don't want to see them, like there will inevitably be for every single team a few games a season where the effort is not there, and by and large I don't think the effort has been the problem for the Celtics, and I think that's what makes it more not worrisome but like frustrating because like then Joe was asked about this after the game. Corrales asked him about it. Like these are things that they did well last year. Like this same group did a lot of these things in execution and points well last year. Hey, Bobby. But they're not this year, and they didn't in this one. And so I think that's why it's annoying. And like that's why I think this one was worse because like we've seen them handle these situations correctly. They just did not. And again, these types of like it'll happen to every team, but these guys haven't won back-to-back games since in like 2 weeks. They're shit. They're ass right now. They just are.
I really hope people listen to this episode because it's a good episode. I don't think they're going to listen. I'm getting more pissed.
You need to stop spreading that narrative because people have been listening more. It's a paradox, like you said. People didn't listen after the losses last year because there were so few of them that they just brushed them aside. Now that they're starting to lose again, people actually want to know what is happening and what the fuck is going wrong. So they're actually listening again. So that's a dead narrative.
I think I said I don't know if people are going to listen. So I'm curving it a little bit. I'm not saying people won't listen. I hope they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, the Celtics have brought me back to life. I care.
It's most I've heard you yell in a little while. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Appreciate the backup. Yeah, no, that was a really bad loss.
Like, it's one thing, like, if, like, Tatum's on a burner, too. And, like, okay, yeah, you have to get it to Tatum because he's the guy. Or you have to get
No
it
one
to
was on a
Jaylen.
burner.
Nobody
No one was
except
on a burner.
Pritchard. He was the only guy.
Pritchard was on a burner. Yeah. I don't know, man. Also, I saw it a couple times on Twitter. I get frustration. The Fire Missoula people are still the stupidest people. All due respect, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but my opinion is that opinion is stupid.
Yeah, I don't really know if this is his fault.
He deserves blame. Don't get me wrong. Everybody on this team deserves some blame. Like, and he said that.
Give it to Payton.
Exactly. And Tatum should have not been spaced out picking daisies for half the game. And Jaylen shouldn't have done some of the Jaylen shit he does. And Jrue shouldn't have done what Jrue did at the end of the game. And Derek should, like, everyone deserves blame. Sam Hauser deserves blame. But
can you imagine being a fan of, like, a tanking team and, like, this is, like, you're trying to lose games and your team loses a game this way? Like, this would be like crack.
Yes.
Because you would have got to see them win a game,
exactly,
but then still lose.
That's why expectations ruin fun, though. It's how it works, man. Expectations ruin fun. It is like I asked Tatum after this game, like, he gave me a pretty good answer, but I kind of wanted a little more. I asked, like, how does this losing stretch compare to losing stretches that they've had in the past? Because these guys have lost before. It didn't happen last year, and we're not used to seeing it because it's been a while. But, like, when they went to the finals in 2022, they started the season 500. And I'm not saying that's where this team should be. And that's what I asked them, like, but coming into this year, having won the championship and with the highest expectations you've ever had, like, how does this losing streak feel compared to that? And he gave me some stuff about, like, how he's grown and how he's different. And just, I need to listen back to the quote, but, like, it does feel different because everyone expects them to be the invincible team they were last year, and they're just not. They're not that. It's a different team, and we'll have to see where they go from here. But I actually encourage everyone, as much as you didn't like them, I encourage everyone to read the quotes and stuff, even if it's gonna get you more mad. Like, I do think there is some perspective on how the team feels about the losing streak rather than, like, just the general frustration throughout the fan base. So
it's really funny to see how many people are on Twitter crying about TikTok when the Celtics just had their third worst loss of the year in just over a week.
You gotta remember that other people care about other things.
I really hope someone sees that tweet that I just did and gets pissed.
Anyways, I think that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I want to go play Xbox.
All right, I gotta go to Maine tomorrow morning, so I need to edit.
Maybe that's a team worth watching.
We'll see. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow us, blah, blah, blah. Let Sam wrap it up.
All right, gang. If you're here, then we really do appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of the loss, and subscribe. You can hit the bell, too, because Jack and I are here every single morning, no matter what. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, except today because we didn't have time. But game recaps are up no matter what, the morning after each game. And other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us live before every game as well, doing pregame streams. It's a ton of fun, so come hang out. You can find us on Spotify and Apple. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're going through all your emails on each pod, so get them in. You know you have something to say about today's game. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's1NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.